Hello everyone. Welcome to the ServiceDesk Plus MSP Masterclass 2022. A very good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on where you're joining us from today. I'm Aditya Oswan, and I'll be your product consultant for the day. And so let's so today's topic is about 6 features to improve your IT service delivery and profitability. Now, why this topic, right? So, as organizations transition towards a digital workspace, managed service providers such as you cannot any longer afford to simply just close tickets, right? You have to deliver a consistent employee and workspace experience as well through effective IT strategies and service delivery practices. And as MSPs focus on these service delivery practices, profitability is another key factor that's a driving force for them. So, which for that, MSPs need the right set of technologies and tools that will help them design, deliver, and manage these IT services in a profitable manner to all their clients, right? So, without further ado, let's dive into the session today. Let's look at the agenda for today's session. So, today the 6 features that we'll be talking about are about standardizing the incident resolution process with a visual lifecycle builder. Now, this feature is essentially request lifecycle. The second feature that we'll look at is about creating personalized service plans and automating recurring bills. Essentially, this feature is about billings and contracts in ServiceDesk Plus MSP. The third feature that we'll look at is about getting a detailed log of the overall time the technician spends on different activities. So this feature is talking about the time sheets feature, right? So the fourth feature that we'll look at is about planning, managing, and assigning tasks to technicians to optimally utilize their resources. So this feature is the latest one, which is released in Services Plus MSP 10.6 version, and it's called resource management. The fifth point that we'll be looking at today is about pulling up key business metrics without writing any complex queries. Now, this is another great addition that was released in Service Desk Plus MSP 10.5 and above, and it's called Business Dashboard. The sixth feature that we'll look at is about managing and scheduling jobs to your on-field technicians efficiently. Now, this feature is essentially the maps integration with Service Desk Plus MSP. All right. Now that we have a good understanding about what we'll be looking at for today's session, so let's just dive right into the first feature. All right. So this first feature is about standardizing the incident resolution process with a visual lifecycle builder. So essentially, what this feature does is it visually documents your entire incident response process and guide your technicians through each and every step, right? But why do managed service providers need this feature, right? Why is there a need for this request life cycle? The issue is when a lot of tickets are coming in, there are technicians who have hard time tracking the statuses of each incoming request, and because of that, a lot of tickets left unassigned. There are a lot of tickets which are left unattended, and which at the end of the day creates a huge clutter. And because of that, you face so many your clients face so many unnecessary downtimes. And essentially, all this happens because you don't have a proper standardized process, request resolution process, right? And beyond that, when new joinees are there in your organization, when they're just getting acquainted to your services system, they may end up making a certain tweaks here and there, closing a ticket which should have been just put to a resolved status, or maybe filling a field which was not required, or forgetting to fill a certain important field, right? So all these challenges happen in the day-to-day life of managed service providers, which is why there is a need for a feature like request life cycle. So let's get into the product and check out how this works. So we we go into the request tab, as we were talking about a lot of incoming tickets, right? So you have thousands of tickets coming in. So how so So you basically, what happens when a client contacts you that we're facing certain issue? So you create a request and you check out what's happening with what are the details of that ticket, right? So you'll be able to check out the details in the request. But let's say a client reached out to you that they're facing certain issues related to a hardware, right? So let's say they're not they're someone's facing monitor display issue, so they're not able to access their monitor, and it's throwing some errors. So what happens then? So you go ahead and create a request for them, right? And once you go ahead and do that, you click on the you select the category of that, you add the subject and description, and you submit that request along with other necessary details. Once you create a request, you come to the request, and now as an imagine there's a new technician that's working on this ticket, and he sees so many elements, so he might get confused as to what to do next. He may end up doing certain processes which are not required. So you need a proper standardized process. For example, on your right side, as you can see, there's a next transition and two buttons that are there, right? So how does these button are here, and what is their objective? So it's talking about assign technician or putting it on hold. So if I click on assign technician, since this is a new ticket in an open status, you get the option to fill out certain fields, and you can assign a technician from right here. Now there's a star mark here, which means that this is a mandatory field. And once you select on the technician and update this field, you will be able to see that the ticket has moved to another status, which is assigned, right? So now you can get started on this ticket and start your work. But how is all this, process of automation happening? So let's go into the admin panel and check out the background of it, right? you we click on admin panel, and under incident management you will be able to check out the request lifecycle feature. Now with the request lifecycle feature, as you reach here, you'll be able to create new life cycles. You'll be able to name the new life cycle, and you'll be able to add description. You will be able to associate the templates, that the incident related templates which are associated with hardware issues, and you'll be able to save it. Once you go ahead and do that, you will be able to check out that there's a neat visual lifecycle builder that is in front of you. All right. So all these white buttons that you see here, white boxes that you see here, are the statuses of the ticket as the ticket progresses from each step, right? And the green boxes that you see are the transitions. So what are these transitions? So these transitions essentially are the process through which a ticket has to go through in order to move to a next status. So essentially, it's and so in this lifecycle builder, you on the right side you would be able to see the statuses and different type of statuses, right? So how do we edit this? Work with this lifecycle builder. So essentially, it's very easy. You just drag and drop the status that you want your ticket to go through, and once you select that, you would be able to select and mark it associated to the next status to which you want this ticket to go to. And once you do that, you will also be able to edit the transition name. And once you do that, a new transition would be created, and your ticket would go through that process as you want. So essentially, the admins will be able to predefine a set of statuses, that each ticket goes through, and as well as you'll be able to specify certain conditions while the ticket goes from one status to another. So in the transition state, and you would be able to specify certain conditions and action for each change in status. So you will be able to do that in here in transition state. So essentially, in status transitions, you would be able to define access scope. Then you would be able to mandate certain fields here, and and you would also be able to trigger certain notifications through through these rules. And apart from that, you would also be able to make certain field updates. You can also Additionally, you can also execute scripts, right? So let's see how a hardware incident, a typical request lifecycle looks like, right? So I've already pre-configured a request lifecycle. So here you can see that we have created this request lifecycle for a ticket related to all the hardware issues, right? So what happens when the ticket came in? So when a ticket comes in, I have mandated the category option. So when a ticket comes in, just right from the moment when you select the hardware related templates, you would be able to mandate certain, your request lifecycle would kick in. And once that happens, you would the ticket will not move forward unless you put the category there. Once you select that, you would be able to move forward in the process, and you would be able to execute these actions during the next transition. So, in order to move a ticket from open to assigned status, as you saw in the beginning, we assigned this technician, we filled the field, and we saw a mandatory option which was about technician. So we filled that field, and only then we were able to move forward in the process. So this is how you can easily assign that. And further, in the after process, so once that ticket is assigned, you would be able to trigger notifications with the help of notification rules, with the help of rules, as I previously demoed. So this is how the basic, a very easy and user-friendly process for you to create a streamlined request flow in order to resolve these tickets fast and in a standardized manner. So this is how the request lifecycle feature works in ServiceDesk Plus MSP. Now moving on to the next feature. So our next feature is about billing your clients accurately. Now, in order to bill your clients accurately, you need to have certain plans in place, certain rules in place, so that you would be able to gauge all the right numbers, and you would be able to, you know, pinpoint the exact services that you want to provide to your clients and bill them accordingly and automate it in an automated manner, right? So, what are the challenges do MSPs usually face in billing their clients? So essentially, there's a lot of disparate system of records. A lot of all these records are scattered, and which leads to inaccurate billing, right? So their entire the process is they're not using integrated billing process with their service desk. So which is why a lot of manual billing happens, and which leads to a lot of human errors, and a lot of the technicians' efforts may go unnoticed, and you would not be able to bill your clients accurately. And this is not this comes out of the result of, because you don't have any automations in place, because the external software that you would be using for billing might not be able to integrate with your service desk system, and therefore you won't be able to track the exact bills you know for multiple services that you're using, that the services that are used by your clients, right? So how do we address this issue in services plus MSP? Basically, we we make use of these billing workflows in order to create a very proper billing process, and uh, to get the accurate billing, right? So we have three ways to bill the clients. So there's an automated billing setup where we create bill rules, service plans, top up plans, and we associate contracts to each account. Then we have ad hoc billing, where we can just where we can create ad hoc bills whenever necessary. And if your clients chooses not to go opt with the service plan, you can always bill them for the particular break fixes, particular issues that you have worked on with them. So how does all this happen in Services plus MSP, right? Let's check it out. So we go to the Home tab. Here, from the setup, from the admin panel, you would be able to check out a billing section. Once you click on the bill rule, you would be able to check out you would be able to create all the new bill rules here. So what are bill rules essentially, right? Bill rules are basically the criteria that every ticket has to match, based on which the ticket would be charged to your account, right? So in order to create a new bill rule, you would be able to add their name, you would be able to add the description, you would be able to assign the criteria that you want to match with the ticket, and then you would be able to add the condition, and based on that you would be able to add fixed cost per request or per hour, and both based on your contract. And you would be also able to add different differential costs, such as operational hour cost, non-operational hour cost, weekend cost, and so on and so forth. And once you're done with that, you can just go ahead and save the bill rule. Once that rule is decided, every ticket, every request that would come in, they would be able to pass through this bill rule, and if it's satisfied, your client will be billed accordingly. Now, next up is a top-up plan. So, what's a top-up plan essentially? A top-up plan is an added allowance that you provide to your clients in case their existing service plan gets exhausted, right? So what do you have to do in order to create a top-up plan? Just click on add new top-up plan. You would be able to add the name, description, the price that you want to associate to this top-up plan. Then based on the price, you can also decide here the number of units, the request units, or the number of hours, or both, for this top-up plan, and go ahead and save it. So once you've configured these two, you can check it out. You can check out the service plan. Now, what are service plans essentially, right? So service plans are basically the service usage information. So basically, it talks about the type of services, a service offering that you have, and how you want to bill your clients based on those. So you could have gold plan, platinum plan, silver plan, whatever. And in order to create a new plan, basically, you click on add new service plan. Then you can add the name of the service plan. You can also decide, you want to charge them per hour, per request, or you want to put a fixed charge that your clients would pay, and that's how they would be charged each. So once you decide upon the plan type, you would be able to check out the billing mode, whether you want to bill them postpaid or prepaid. So if they want to bill, once the billing mode is decided, you can check out the bill cycle. So bill cycle could be weekly, monthly, quarterly, half yearly, yearly, or whatever the agreed upon bill cycle is between you and your clients, right? Once you decide all that, you would be able to add the fixed charges, weekly allowances, and uh, the options to use the additional, provide the additional usage. So in case you don't want to allow them to use that addition, I mean, move further the service plan, so you can select this option and mark all the requests that would come in post the exhaustion of service plan. But if you want them to allow them to continuously use your services, you can select this option, go ahead and add the additional usage charges. So you can add fixed cost per hour, you can also add differential cost per hour. So in order to add these values, you can also click here and associate a bill rule, which we just discussed earlier, and you can just select that bill rule and all the values would be automatically filled. Now, if the bill rule does not match, you can also manually enter the values that you would want to charge your clients with. Then you can further select whether you want to deduct only from operational hours, carry forward unused allowances, allow your technicians to add additional, enter additional charges and all. So all these options, after you configure, you would be able to design a proper service plan for your clients. Now, after doing all that, after you've configured all that, you would be able to now associate the service plans to your associate a contract to your clients, right? So how do we add a new contract for your client? So you can just first, as you see, we have to select an account. So once you select an account, you would be able to add a new contract. So you click on add new contract. you go ahead and select the service plan from here, and based on the service plan, you would be able to add the contract number. Then you would add the contract name, description, starting and expiry dates of the contract, the notification details, where who do you want to notify, before what, how many numbers of days, or before how much of the contract exhaustion percentage. And based on that, your clients would be notified. So, and after that, you can add all the billing details, such as billing date, email, currency, etc. And you can add the billing options and the tax details. So once you add all these details, a, a contract would be, add the details and click on save. This contract would be associated to this particular account, right? So this is how you set up the entire process for automated billing. Now let's check it out how this billing process works, right? So you go to the request section, request list view, and you select the particular account that you want to check, see if the requests are associated to the particular contract or not. So, for example, I'm checking the state grid account, and I want to see if the requests are being associated to this particular contract that I associated, right? So, as you can see here, this contract name SGGP is associated and is active, right? And it is billable. So, you can always also go ahead and associate different contracts. As a managed service provider, you can have multiple contracts with a client based on the size of their business, based on the different services that you want to have a contract for, right? So this is how you can go ahead and always change the contract. You make use of these options to mark the existing work logs as billables and non-billable, and you can proceed how you want to. So once a request comes in and you attend to this request, you can go ahead and you can add your work logs. In order to add a work log, you click on add new, you add the details, the contract name, and if it's billable or not, and enter other details. And once you've done that, you can just click on save, and the work log would be added to this particular ticket. Once you've added all the work logs, you can go ahead and close the ticket. And once you close the ticket, your clients would be billed accordingly in an automated manner. Now, so this is the entire process for automated billing, right? But we have other options. We have ad hoc billing options in ServiceDesk Plus MSP, and we have also billing option for break fixes. So let's check out how ad hoc billing works. So you go to the billing tab, and in the billing tab, you would be able to check out, you would be able to check out the bills that you have earlier, generated for these clients. So in order to create a new ad hoc bill, you select the account that you want to bill, you click on generate bill, then here you can add the duration of this bill, from which year to which, from which billing cycle you want it for, and then you can go ahead and select the contract that was associated with this account and click on generate bill. So once this bill is generated, it would look something like this, and you can go ahead and take a printout of this bill and provide to your clients, or alternatively, you can download it in the format of your choice and send it to your clients, right? So this is how ad hoc billing works in ServiceDesk Plus MSP. Now the next one is about the break fixes. So if your clients choose not to associate with any service plan, so what do you do, right? So you go ahead and you select a ticket, and once that ticket is resolved, once you've done worked on the ticket, and once you close that ticket, you would be able to print a job sheet. So in order to print a job sheet, you need to close that ticket, and once the ticket is closed, right, you would be able to look at an option called the actions. So once you click on actions, you would be able to find a print job sheet option. So once you print the job sheet, a bill would be generated something like this, and this invoice can be downloaded, can be printed out, and sent to the client in the efficient manner. And this is how you can efficiently bill your clients with ServiceDesk Plus MSP, and all these billing will be accurate as well. So moving on to the next feature. So the next feature that we're going to look at is about tracking technician hours effectively. So what is this feature? How does this feature actually works, right? So with this feature, you would be able to get a detailed log of overall time that technician spends on each activity, right? So why is there a need for this feature? We need this feature because a lot of MSPs are still tracking their technician hours time logs in a spreadsheet, or maybe in an outdated system, right? So which makes it very difficult to accurately document all these efforts. How do you ensure that your technicians exact efforts are documented, right? So we do that in services plus MSP with the help of timesheets. So in order to do that, we we have on the top panel, you would be able to check out the timesheets tab. And once you click on the timesheets tab, you would be able to see this particular screen. In this screen, you'll have two options. You would either be able to check out the approvals and your own timesheets that you have submitted. So once you have once as a technician, once you have added all the work logs in each ticket, you would be able to see that all those work logs are details are reflected here in this time sheet. Additionally, you would also be able to check out the particular requests that you've worked on and the accounts that these requests are associated with. Along with that, you can also check out the statuses of the current statuses of each ticket, and based on that, you would be able to check out the logged hours, billable hours, non-billable hours, and since since the billable hours determine your performance, your efficiency, you can also check out your complete performance, how you've worked on it, right? And once once you're done with once you're satisfied that all the right time is associated to this timesheet, you would be able to send this timesheet for approval. So once your superior checks this timesheet and approves it, your you would be able to exactly maintain a log of your exact efforts that you've spent. Now, other option here is about timesheet approvals. So if you've been allowed this if you've been given this role that you would be able to check out and approve the timesheets for each technician. So how do you configure that in Service Desk Plus? So you go to admin panel, and under roles, MSP details, you would find the option called roles. So here we have allowed, when you create a new role, we have given an option for timesheets. So now you can associate your technicians so that they would be able to approve timesheets and view timesheets, so that there's a proper maintenance of approval. There's a proper approval process once the technicians submit their timesheets, right? And this is how, in a standardized manner, you would be able to log all your technicians' efforts effectively. This is how the timesheet feature works. Now, moving on to the next feature, which is manage resources like a pro. So, how do you manage resources in your organization? Do you check your resource availability, and do you have the right processes in place to do all these tasks very efficiently, right? What are the issues that you're facing with the resource management in your system, in your organization? Are you able to manage the workload among all your resources optimally, or are you still facing issues? Are your technicians going having some more workload, whereas some technicians have less workload, and you're not able to identify all that in general? So this is how, so with resource management in Service Desk Plus MSP, you would be able to address this problem with very, very ease, right? What you do, you go on the home, you go click on the home tab, and here we have introduced this new feature called resource management. So once you click on resource management, you will be able to check out the complete time log the complete time logs of each activities that every technician is associated with. So as you can see here, the technician named Aditya is working on employee offboarding, which would take certain time, whereas Heather Graham is working on something else. And this way, you can check out what each technician is working on, what each task technicians are working on, and you would be able to manage the load. So how do you manage the load? You can simply, as you can see, this person has two tasks. So and this John Roberts has no task. So you can go ahead and assign this task to John Roberts once, and it's as simple as that. You just drag and drop that particular task to the technician that's available for this task, right? And this is how for you would be able to manage all your resources effectively right from the your ServiceDesk Plus MSP console, right? So you can also able to you will also be able to check out these tasks that they're working on based on the hours, based on days, and based on weeks as well. So, and beyond that, you would also be able to filter out the tasks based on priority, because you want your high priority task to be dealt with earlier, right? And based on statuses, what is the status of each ticket, based on task types, and you can also choose not to select any of these filters, right? So this is how with Services Plus MSP you would be able to deal with all these management related. You would be able to address all these resource management related issues in a single click. So moving on to the next feature. The next feature talks about monitoring the health of your business. Now, as a managed service provider, you need to have the right numbers in order to make informed decisions so that you can improve the profitability of your business. Now, the, all the common services usually do not offer this feature out of the box, but in Services Plus MSP, we offer a business dashboard out of the box. So, what does this feature about, right? So, you with this feature, you would be able to get a quick snapshot of your entire MSP operations with insights in areas like revenue, customer satisfaction, and productivity, and a lot more, right? So, how would this feature help you? This feature would provide you a summarized visual representation of key business metrics, which will help you make informed decisions. Now, how do you access these key business metrics in Services Plus MSP, right? So let's check it out. You go to the home dashboard section, and in dashboard section, you would be able to see all your help desk related dashboards, problem changes, assets that are associated with our organization, the projects that you're working on, and the finally you check out the business dashboard. Now, in this business dashboard, you would be able to check out your entire revenue, your the technicians that number of technicians that you have, your complete build time, your number of assets that you're managing, client satisfaction rate, and the number of completed requests, right? So these widgets are customizable, and you would be able to customize based on the chart type that you want, and based on which year you want to see the numbers for, right? And that is how you would be able to check it out. So, what key metrics that we provide, right? We provide the revenue related details. We also provide revenue related details based on the monthly basis for the last year, for this year, or for the last month. You can check that out. We also provide the details about last 12 bill cycles, and the most important one, which is billable versus non-billable hours. So you want to check out how efficiently your technicians are working, right? So you can, based on the number of billable hours versus non-billable hours, you would be able to address that. You would be able to check that, and you also get the widget, the metric for customer satisfaction, how your customers are feeling about the services that they're provided, right? And further, you can also check out the top 10 technicians that you have, and the ticket flows, and so on. And all these business related information would be available to you right on your fingertips. And Not just that, you would also be able to organize your widgets, and just like how you do with all your other dashboards, right? So this is how the feature MSP Business Dashboard works in ServiceDesk Plus MSP. Now this feature is not available to all the technicians. So if you want certain only stakeholders, particular technicians to check out that dashboard, you can go ahead and roles, and we have created a new role named MSP Dashboard Owner. So only those technicians who have been assigned this role would be able to check out that MSP Business Dashboard, right? So this is how you associate your technicians with the ability to check out the business dashboard, and this is how you gauge all the important numbers right on your fingertips. Moving on to the next and the last feature for the day, which is about simplified on-field staff scheduling. Now, with Services Plus MSP, you would be able to plan and coordinate the scheduling of the field staff in order to minimize the technician availability issues, and you can ensure maximum efficiency on the field. So, but why do we essentially need this? What happens in general? So, in general, what happens is the MSPs struggle with the staff assignment process. You don't know all the time where your technicians are. You're unable to track their locations, and since you also not exactly are aware about your client locations, you're not able to efficiently assign tasks to each technician, right? So how do you address this problem with Service Desk Plus MSP? So let's check out how field service management can be done with ServiceDesk Plus MSP. So you go to the admin panel, and in order to activate this feature, you can go to the integration section, and you would be able to find a feature called Maps Integration. So once you click on that, you would be able to enable Maps. Now, once you click on yes, you would either be able to integrate with Zoho Maps or Google Maps. Now, we offer Zoho Maps out of the box for free of cost. But in case you want to use Google Maps, you can go ahead and get your API key and use the Google Maps with your subscription as well. Now, once you integrate with the Zoho Maps or Google Maps and click on Save, a Maps tab would be available for you in the top bar. And once you go to the Maps tab, you would be able to check out how easily all these client locations are pinned on this particular geographical map, and you would also be able to pinpoint your client's location. So how do you do that, right? So as you can see here, a lot of these client sites are associated, and you can also associate and pinpoint your technician's location. So in order to pinpoint technician's location, you would be able to use ServiceDesk Plus MSP mobile application, where technicians would go on the app and pinpoint their location and update their location in this, and it would be reflected in this particular map. And further, you can pin these sites here, right, in the maps tab. So how would you be able to configure the sites for each of your account? So basically, you go to the admin panel, and once you go on the sites, yes. So once you go on the account details option, under account details option, you would be able to find sites. And whenever you're creating a new site for an account, you go and select an account option. Apologies for that. You select the account for which. So sorry. Please give me a moment here. All right. So you select the account for which you want to add a particular site. You click on new site, and under site, you would be able to check out the option to add latitude and longitude details, and you would be able to pin that client's position. And alternatively, you would also be able to click on this option and enter the exact location right from this particular map and pin the location of each client. And this is how you would be able to check out each client's exact location, and your technicians would be able to update that location with the mobile app. And this is how you would always have the information of whereabouts of your technicians and the client's location. And this is with this information, you would be able to assign technicians the associated tasks with each client very efficiently, as you would be aware of their locations, right? So this is how you perform field service management in ServiceDesk Plus MSP. All right. So now with this we come to the end of our session, and so essentially let's do a recap of what we learned in this session, right? So essentially we checked out the process to standardize the incident resolution and with the visual lifecycle builder. Then we checked out how you can create personalized service plans, build rules and top up plans, and associate and create new contracts and associate them to your accounts and automate the recurring bills, right? And then we also checked out how you can get a detailed log of overall time that technicians spend on different activities. Then further we moved on and we checked out how the resource management feature works in ServiceDesk Plus MSP, and how you would be able to easily plan, manage, and assign tasks to your technicians. Then we checked out how you can make use of the business MSP Business Dashboard and pull up key business metrics without even writing any complex queries. Earlier, you had to generate a lot of you had to write complex queries and generate number of reports in order to get even single of those metrics. But now you would be able to access those metrics on your fingertips, right? And at the end, we checked out how with Maps integration in ServiceDesk Plus MSP, you would be able to manage all your on-field technicians, very efficient in a very efficient manner. All right. So, folks, if you have any other questions, you can always reach out to us at hello@servicedeskplus.com. We also have admin guides which has all the information related to entire feature set of Service Desk Plus MSP. We also have regularly release notes in the release notes, so you would be able to check out all our new updates. And in the community, we have a vibrant Bitstop community where users such as yourself come together and have very wide range communications, wide range discussions on the Service Desk Plus MSP product and the MSP industry, right? You can also add your feature suggestions and so on and so forth in the community section. And we also have a support portal where you can reach out to our support team and get your queries related to the product resolved. So with that, we have come to the end of this session. So I would like to thank you all for joining this session, taking your precious time out of your schedule and attending this session with me. So with that, this is Aditya Oswal signing off. Thank you.